Tokyo, 1920. The city hums with the energy of a new era, a delicate dance between ancient tradition and Western modernity. But within the silent, manicured gardens of a noble Kasuga family estate, time moves differently. Here, every rustle of silk, every formal bow, is governed by rules as old as the gnarled pines that line the walls. It is a world of quiet precision, and at its center is Lady Aiko Kasuga, the only daughter of a powerful viscount. She moves through these opulent halls like a figure in a painted scroll, beautiful, serene, and utterly confined. Her days are a meticulous performance of ikebana, tea ceremonies, and poetry. Her future is already written, a strategic marriage to a man she has never met, a union to fortify her family's standing. But in the quiet moments, when the world believes she is contemplating ancient verse, Aiko's gaze often drifts to the courtyard below. She watches a world she can see but never touch, a world of life and labor. And it is there, amidst the servants, that her carefully constructed universe begins to fracture. His name is Minjun, a young man from Joseon. He is one of the many Koreans who came to Japan seeking work, only to find themselves on the lowest rungs of a rigid social ladder. He is a rickshaw puller for the Kasuga family, a position of invisibility. He is meant to be silent, a shadow that ferries the family through the bustling streets. His world is one of sweat, calloused hands, and the constant, simmering humiliation of being an outsider. He keeps his head down, his emotions guarded, focusing only on earning enough to send back to his family. He has learned that in this city, his voice does not matter. His dreams are a luxury he cannot afford. He and Lady Aiko exist in separate galaxies, orbiting the same household, but never meant to collide. Yet fate, or perhaps a shared sense of confinement, has a different design. A quiet glance held a second too long, a small, almost imperceptible nod of acknowledgement. These are the first dangerous seeds of connection. It began with the rain, a sudden, violent downpour that caught Aiko in the garden without an umbrella. As she stood stranded, the fine silk of her kimono darkening with water, Minjun appeared. He didn't speak, didn't dare to look at her directly. He simply held his own coarse oil paper umbrella over her head, his eyes fixed on the gravel path, his arm held stiffly at a respectful distance. He escorted her to the veranda, bowed, and disappeared back into the storm, drenched. That simple, silent act of kindness was a profound deviation from protocol. For Aiko, it was a moment of startling humanity in a life of sterile formality. She started noticing him not as a servant, but as a person. The way he carefully polished the rickshaw's lacquer, the quiet dignity in his posture, the flicker of weariness in his eyes at the end of a long day. She began to find reasons to be near the courtyard, leaving a fallen camellia blossom where he might find it, or asking for a ride through the park when there was no real need. For Minjun, these small interactions were terrifying. Every lingering look from her, every soft-spoken thank you, was a risk that could cost him everything. Yet he couldn't stop himself. Her curiosity was a light in his gray existence. She asked him about his home, about the poems he read in his rare moments of solitude. He, in turn, discovered the woman behind the noble title, a person with a sharp mind, a yearning for freedom, and a deep melancholy that mirrored his own. Their conversations were stolen whispers in the twilight, hidden behind the carriage house or in the brief moments of a rickshaw ride. He'd point out a star and share a Korean folktale. She'd recite a line from a forbidden Western novel. They were building a bridge across an impossible divide, a fragile structure made of shared secrets and blossoming affection. In a world designed to keep them apart, they were creating a small, secret universe for two, a place where she wasn't a lady and he wasn't a servant, but simply Aiko and Minjun. But secrets, like ghosts, have a way of making their presence known. The other servants began to notice. A whispered comment here, a resentful glare there. The head butler, a man whose loyalty to the Kasuga family was absolute, observed their interactions with a cold, calculating eye. The social order was not just a set of rules. It was the foundation of his entire world, and he would not see it threatened. The pressure mounted. Minjun felt the stairs on his back like a physical weight. Aiko's lady-in-waiting began to question her frequent walks, her unladylike interest in the lives of the staff. The air in the estate grew thick with unspoken suspicion. The stolen joy they had found was now laced with a constant, gnawing dread. Every secret meeting felt heavier, more dangerous. They knew they were playing with fire, and the walls of their private world were beginning to feel less like a sanctuary and more like a cage. The tension finally snapped on the night of the autumn festival. Under the glow of paper lanterns, Aiko's father, the Viscount, formally announced her engagement. The man, a stern-faced aristocrat, stood beside her, a symbol of her gilded prison. Aiko's composure, her lifelong mask of placid acceptance, finally cracked. Later that night, desperate and heartbroken, she sought out Minjun. She found him by the stables, his face etched with a sorrow that mirrored her own. In that moment of shared despair, all pretense fell away. She confessed her feelings, her voice a desperate whisper against the night air. And he, casting aside a lifetime of caution, admitted his own love for her. For one reckless, beautiful moment, they were not a noblewoman and a servant. They were just two people in love, clinging to each other as the world prepared to tear them apart. But their embrace was not unseen. From the shadows of the veranda, the head butler watched, his face grim. He had his proof. The confrontation was swift and brutal. The next morning, Minjun was dragged before the Viscount. The head butler stood by, recounting every stolen glance, every whispered word. Aiko was summoned, forced to stand and watch as the man she loved was accused. The Viscount's rage was cold and absolute. This was not merely a breach of protocol. It was a stain on his family's honor, a betrayal of their very identity. Minjun did not beg. He stood tall, accepting the blows and the insults, his only concern to shield Aiko from blame. He claimed he had pursued her, that he had manipulated her kindness. He was protecting her in the only way he knew how. Aiko, her voice shaking but clear, tried to defend him, to claim her own part in their forbidden relationship. But her father wouldn't listen. In his eyes, she was a child who had been led astray. Her words were dismissed, her agency denied. The punishment was absolute. Minjun was dismissed immediately, cast out from the only home and employment he had in this foreign land. He was given no severance, no reference, only the threat of far worse if he ever came near the estate again. Aiko was confined to her rooms. Her wedding date moved forward. Her world shrank to four walls, her only companions the silent judgment of her family and the deafening echo of her own heartbreak. The brief, beautiful world she had built with Minjun was shattered, leaving only the bitter reality of their respective prisons. The defiant hope that had flickered between them was extinguished, smothered by the unyielding weight of class and tradition. The Kasuga estate returned to its quiet, orderly rhythm, but for Aiko, the silence was no longer peaceful. It was the sound of a profound and permanent loss. Weeks turned into months. Aiko went through the motions of her life, the fitting for her wedding kimono, the endless lessons in propriety. She was the perfect, obedient daughter on the surface, but inside, a quiet rebellion was taking root. She had tasted freedom, however briefly, and she could not forget it. On the day before her wedding, she did something unthinkable. Using the jewelry her grandmother had given her, she bribed a young maid, one who had shown her a sliver of sympathy. The maid delivered a small, discreet package to a contact in the city, with instructions to find a man named Minjun. The package contained a modest amount of money, enough for a ticket on a ship, enough for a new start somewhere far away from here. It also contained a single pressed camellia blossom, the one she had left for him all that time ago. It was not a promise of a future together. They both knew that was impossible. It was an acknowledgement, a final silent conversation across an unbridgeable distance. Years later, an older Aiko, now a mother herself, would sometimes walk in her own garden. A different garden in a different part of the city. She would stop by the camellia bushes and think of a brave, quiet man who showed her what it meant to be seen. She never knew for sure if he received her package. If he made it to a new life, she could only hope. In her heart, their story was not a tragedy. It was a bittersweet testament to a love that dared to exist, even if only for a fleeting moment in the spaces between the rules. It was a quiet rebellion that, in its own small way, changed them both forever. Their story reminds us that even in the most rigid of worlds, the human heart seeks connection, and love can bloom in the most impossible of places. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales from history's hidden corners.